Nobody talks about why most people stay broke. Not because they don't work hard enough, not because they don't have opportunities, not because the system is rigged against them, although sometimes it is. They stay broke because they think about money the way a soldier thinks about a battle he has already lost. Reactively, defensively, always one step behind. Sun Tzu watched armies destroy themselves for centuries, and he noticed something that applies just as much to wealth as it does to war. Most people lose not because their enemy is stronger, but because they never had a strategy to begin with. They work hard, they save a little, they hope something changes, and they wonder why the gap between them and the people at the top keeps getting wider, not smaller. Here is the truth that nobody in your life will tell you. Wealth is not built by working harder. Wealth is built by thinking differently, by seeing what others cannot see, by moving when others are still deciding, by understanding human nature, greed, fear, timing, positioning, well enough to use it before it uses you. Sun Tzu understood all of this 2,500 years before the first stock market ever opened. Stay with me, because the 7 strategies you are about to hear are not motivational advice. They are not tips from a financial influencer. They are the cold, precise principles of a man who never lost, applied to the only war that most of you are actually fighting right now: the war for your financial future. And the 7th strategy is the one that changes everything. It is the reason why certain people seem to build wealth effortlessly, while everyone around them struggles. Most people never figure it out. You are about to. Think about the last financial decision you made. Did you make it from a position of strength, with a clear strategy, full information, and complete emotional control? Or did you make it the way most people do, under pressure, with incomplete information, driven by fear of missing out or fear of losing what you already have? Most people make almost every financial decision from a reactive position. The market goes up, they buy because they fear missing out. The market goes down, they sell because they fear losing more. A friend tells them about an opportunity. They jump in without thinking because they do not want to be left behind. A bill arrives. They panic and make short-term decisions that cost them long-term. This is not a money problem. This is a psychology problem. And Sun Tzu was the greatest psychologist who ever lived. He wrote, "Know your enemy and know yourself, and you will not be imperiled in 100 battles." In the context of wealth, your enemy is not the market. Your enemy is not the economy. Your enemy is not the person making more than you. Your enemy is your own psychology, your fear, your impatience, your ego, your inability to sit still when everything around you is moving. Know that enemy completely, and you have already won half the battle. The 7 strategies that follow are about exactly that. Not tips and tricks, not get-rich-quick schemes. the deep structural understanding of how wealth actually moves and how to position yourself on the right side of that movement. Strategy 1. Win before the battle begins. Sun Tzu wrote, "Victorious warriors win first and then go to war. Defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win." This is the single most important wealth principle that almost nobody applies. Most people enter financial situations hoping to win. They invest hoping the stock goes up. They start a business hoping it succeeds. They take a job hoping it leads somewhere. Hope is their strategy. And hope is not a strategy. It is a wish dressed in working clothes. Sun Tzu never hoped. He prepared. He studied. He positioned. And by the time he moved, the outcome was already determined. The battle was a formality. In wealth terms, this means one thing. Before you put a single dollar into any opportunity, you should already know with high confidence that the conditions for your success exist. Not because you got lucky with your timing, because you created the conditions deliberately. Let me make this concrete. The people who built serious wealth in real estate over the last 20 years did not simply buy property and hope prices went up. The ones who won consistently studied specific markets. They understood which cities were growing and why. They understood supply and demand dynamics. They understood the demographic shifts driving demand years before those shifts became obvious to everyone else. By the time the average person heard about the opportunity, these people were already positioned, already winning. The battle was over before most people even knew it had started. The same is true in business. The same is true in investing. The same is true in your career. The question is never, how do I win this opportunity? The question is, how do I ensure I am already in a winning position before the opportunity fully arrives? This requires patience that most people do not have. It requires preparation that most people will not do. It requires the discipline to wait, sometimes for months, sometimes for years, until the conditions are right. But the people who do this do not gamble with their financial future. They simply collect what is already theirs. Strategy 2. Control the terrain. Sun Tzu wrote, "He who knows the art of the direct and indirect approach will be victorious. Such is the art of maneuvering." In warfare, terrain is everything. An army that controls the high ground, the water supply, the supply lines, that army does not need to be stronger. It simply needs to be better positioned. Wealth works identically. Most people compete on terrain that other people control. They take jobs in industries where salaries are capped by someone else's decision. They start businesses in markets so crowded that winning requires being dramatically better than thousands of established competitors. They invest in assets that require perfect timing to produce returns, timing that is almost impossible to achieve consistently. They fight uphill battles, not because they are weak, but because they chose the wrong terrain. Sun Tzu would never do this. He would ask a different set of questions before entering any financial arena. Not, "Can I compete here?" but, "Who controls this terrain? Where is the high ground? Where is the position from which winning becomes almost inevitable?" In practical terms, this means seeking asymmetric opportunities, situations where your downside is limited and your upside is disproportionate. Situations where your specific skills, knowledge, or position give you an advantage that competitors cannot easily replicate. Think about the concept of the niche. The person who becomes the undisputed expert in a very specific, underserved area does not compete with everyone. They occupy terrain that nobody else has claimed. And from that position, they can charge more, attract better clients, build faster, and sustain their advantage over time. Sun Tzu did not win by being the best general in every situation. He won by choosing situations where his specific strengths produced maximum advantage. Your job is to find that terrain in your own financial life. The place where the battle, before it even begins, is already tilted in your favor. Strategy 3. Use intelligence before capital. Sun Tzu wrote, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, your victory will not stand in doubt." Most people think wealth is built with money, with capital, with the resources you accumulate and deploy. Sun Tzu would tell you that wealth is built with information, with intelligence, with knowing things that others do not know, and acting on that knowledge before it becomes common. Here is the brutal economic reality that most financial advisors will never tell you directly. By the time an investment opportunity reaches you through mainstream channels, through the news, through social media, through conversations at dinner parties, the people who are going to make serious money on it already have. The opportunity has been priced in. The easy gains have been captured. What is left for the people arriving late is the risk, and usually not enough reward to justify it. The people who consistently build wealth are not smarter than everyone else. They are not luckier. They are simply earlier. And they are earlier because they invest in intelligence before they invest in anything else. What does this mean practically? It means reading deeply in specific areas, not broadly across everything. It means building relationships with people who have direct, ground-level knowledge of the industries and markets you are interested in. It means developing the skill of pattern recognition, seeing the early signals of shifts that have not yet become obvious. It means treating information as your most valuable asset, more valuable than any single investment. Sun Tzu spent enormous resources on intelligence gathering before every campaign. He had networks of agents in enemy territory. He studied his opponents obsessively. He knew their strengths, their weaknesses, their decision-making patterns. By the time he moved, he was not gambling. He was executing a plan built on superior information. Build your intelligence network. Know your terrain before you enter it, and you will not be gambling either. Strategy 4. The art of patience and speed. Sun Tzu wrote, "Let your rapidity be that of the wind, your compactness that of the forest. In raiding and plundering, be like fire. In stillness, Be like a mountain. This is one of the most misunderstood principles in all of Sun Tzu, and one of the most important for building wealth. Most people think they need to choose between patience and speed, between waiting and acting, between being conservative and being aggressive. Sun Tzu's answer was not a choice, it was a sequence. Be completely still, patient, unmoved, unrushed, while you are preparing and positioning. And then be absolutely fast, decisive, committed, without hesitation, the moment the right opportunity arrives. The failure of most people in building wealth is that they have this backwards. They are impatient during the preparation phase, rushing into decisions before they are ready, before conditions are right, before they have the information they need. And then they are slow during the execution phase, hesitating when they should act, second-guessing decisions that were already made, waiting for just a little more certainty that never comes. Think about the greatest wealth-building moments in history. The people who bought quality assets during the financial crisis of 2008. The people who invested heavily in technology in the early 2000s after the dot-com crash. The people who recognized the shift to mobile computing before it became obvious. What did they have in common? They spent years preparing, building their knowledge base, building their financial position, building their conviction. Being patient, completely, uncomfortably patient, during the long period when nothing was happening. And then, when the moment arrived, they moved with absolute speed and total commitment. No hesitation, no waiting for more confirmation. They had already done the preparation. The decision was made long before the moment arrived. Be the mountain until it is time to be the wind. Most people are never the mountain, and so they are never the wind either. Strategy 5. Appear weak when you are strong. Sun Tzu wrote, "When strong, appear weak. When weak, appear strong." This principle sounds like a deception tactic for warfare. In the context of wealth, it is one of the most powerful psychological strategies you will ever apply. Here is the core insight. When you display your wealth, your resources, your capabilities openly, you activate two responses in the people around you. The people above you become threatened and begin working to limit your advancement. The people around you begin asking for things, expecting things, positioning themselves to extract value from your position. Both responses cost you. The people who build the most serious, durable wealth quietly, over time, almost never look like the wealthiest people in the room. They drive ordinary cars. They live in ordinary houses. They do not announce their financial moves. They do not perform success for others. Not because they are hiding, but because they understand that displaying wealth invites attacks, creates social obligations, and reveals your position to people who might use that information against you. Sun Tzu never revealed the full strength of his army until the moment of attack. And in that concealment, he maintained maximum strategic flexibility. His enemy could not prepare for what they could not see. In your financial life, keep your strategy private. Keep your resources private. Keep your next move private. Not because you are ashamed, not because you are insecure, because the person who no one is watching, no one is competing with, and no one is asking for money, operates with a freedom and flexibility that the person performing wealth never has. The truly wealthy are almost never who you think they are. Strategy 6. Turn every loss into intelligence. Sun Tzu wrote, "In the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity." Every financial loss contains information, and information, as we established in Strategy 3, is more valuable than capital. Most people respond to financial losses the way most people respond to military defeat. With shame, with avoidance, with the desperate desire to not think about what happened. They close the chapter as quickly as possible and try to move on, taking none of the lessons with them. This is how the same person loses the same way multiple times, how the same patterns repeat across decades, how people in their 50s make financial mistakes they could have avoided if they had fully processed what happened in their 30s. Sun Tzu never wasted a defeat. He studied every loss, his own and his enemies, with the same intensity he brought to victory. He asked specific questions. What information was I missing? Where did my assumptions fail? What did my enemy know that I did not? What would I do differently with the same information? This practice, rigorous, honest, unemotional analysis of failure, is one of the most reliable predictors of long-term financial success. Not because it feels good, because it converts expensive experiences into permanent knowledge. The most successful investors, entrepreneurs, and wealth builders that history has produced were not people who never lost. They were people who lost intelligently, who extracted maximum value from every failure, who never paid for the same lesson twice. Every financial loss you have ever experienced contains inside it the specific intelligence you needed to avoid it. The question is whether you were willing to look. Start looking. Strategy 7. Build an army, not a salary. Sun Tzu wrote, "The skillful employer of men will employ the wise man, the brave man, the covetous man, and the stupid man. For the wise man delights in establishing his merit. The brave man likes to show his courage in action. The covetous man is quick at seizing advantages, and the stupid man has no fear of death." This is the strategy that changes everything, and it is the reason why certain people seem to build wealth with a kind of effortless momentum, while the majority of people work harder every year and seem to get no further ahead. The difference is not intelligence. It is not luck. It is not even strategy in the conventional sense. It is whether you are building an army or fighting alone. Every person who earns money through a salary is a single soldier. One person, one set of skills, one limited number of hours in a day. No matter how talented you are, no matter how hard you work, no matter how valuable you become, your income is permanently capped by the number of hours you can sell and the rate someone else is willing to pay for them. Sun Tzu never won a campaign with a single soldier. He built armies, structures, systems, networks of people and resources that could operate, produce, and fight, whether he was present or not. In wealth terms, this is the shift from earning to building, from trading time for money to building systems that generate value independent of your time. A business that runs without you is an army. A portfolio of investments that compounds while you sleep is an army. A piece of content, a product, a piece of intellectual property that earns revenue every day without your direct involvement. These are all armies. The question is not, how do I earn more per hour? The question is, how do I build something that fights for me when I am not fighting? This shift from single soldier to general is the most important financial transition a person can make. It is not easy. It does not happen overnight. It requires building skills, taking risks, tolerating uncertainty, and staying the course through the inevitable period when the army is still being built and not yet producing results. But Sun Tzu understood something about this period that most people miss. The time you spend building the army, when nothing seems to be happening, when the results are invisible, when everyone around you is advancing faster in the short term because they are not building anything, that time is not lost time. That time is the most valuable investment you will ever make. Because one day, and it always comes, the army is ready. And from that day forward, the game is no longer the same. 7 strategies, not tips, not advice. A complete framework for approaching wealth the way the greatest military strategist in history approached war. Win before the battle begins. Prepare so thoroughly that your success is determined before you act. Control the terrain. Find the ground where winning is almost inevitable, given who you are and what you know. Use intelligence before capital. Information is your most valuable asset. Master the sequence of patience and speed. Be the mountain until it is time to be the wind. Appear weak when you are strong. Protect your strategy by not performing it. Turn every loss into intelligence. Never pay for the same lesson twice. And build an army. Stop fighting alone. These are not new ideas. They are 2,500 years old. They have been applied by every person who has ever built serious, durable wealth, consciously or not. The difference between you and them is not talent. It is not luck. It is not the circumstances you were born into. It is strategy. And now you have it. One thing. Choose one of these 7 strategies, the one that applies most directly to where you are right now, and apply it this week. Not all 7. One. That single move, applied consistently with discipline over time, will change more about your financial life than any other decision you make this year. Subscribe to this channel because every video we release goes deeper into the principles that actually separate the people who win from the people who wonder why they never do. The next video reveals something that Sun Tzu considered the most dangerous force in any battle: and it is almost certainly operating in your life right now without your awareness. Watch it next.